Are you struggling to get your students speaking French in a fun and engaging way that they are really excited for? Let me show you how my communication orale chants can help. These simple, interactive, and fun activities have transformed how my students learn vocabulary, and they also help them remember to speak French, after we're done. And they are so easy to use in any classroom. Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm a French primary teacher, and today I am sharing how I use chants to make speaking and listening fun, effective, and engaging for every student. These chants aren't just about learning new words, they're also about building confidence, practicing French sentence structures, complete sentences, and getting all your students to speak together. Young students to speak in French can be a challenge, especially if they don't feel confident in the target language or, really see the point of using it. And that is where chants can come in and really help your maternelle, première année, deuxième année students start speaking and feel confident and ready to speak in complete sentences in French and use the vocabulary words that they know. Chants can help make learning French vocabulary fun and interactive. They help students learn together in a supportive group, which helps even shy learners feel comfortable. And every single student gets to speak a lot, which means more practice in less time. So I use chants pretty much every day in my grade 1 classroom. And I do it in a way that gamifies it and makes it fun. And I do students versus Madame Andrea. So my students are all working together in a supportive environment. They're helping each other out. They're speaking together, listening together, and trying to beat me. And I use the game to, keep them on track, keep them focused, keep them speaking French, and stop the sillies because it can get pretty fun and exciting. So today I'm going to teach you kind of step by step how I use my chants. And my chants, I have a couple here with me. I just keep them in these zipper pouches from Amazon inside of my filing cabinet. Each chant comes with the chant itself, which is on this size of paper. This is all I use now. I did used to copy them all over on chart paper so that it was big and we could stick the things up. Over time, I just kind of, the chart paper doesn't last as long and gets kind of destroyed and ended up in the recycling bin, and it was a lot of waste for me. If you're a more organized person, it will probably work better for you and you save it from year to year. So now what I do is I just print it out, I laminate it, and then I stick it to the chart paper as we're going, and then afterwards I take it down and I put it back in here so it's ready for me next year. I don't have to do anything. I find the font's big enough and clear enough. My students can see it, and they don't really read the chant, they memorize it anyway, so it all works out. So each chant comes with the chant itself. I did not put in them what the tune is. There's not really a tune, it's not a song, it's just chanting, so you can make it kind of say whatever you want. I will go say the one that I'm going to show you today, but again, it's a chant, so it doesn't have to have a melody. You just kind of chant it. And then it has these vocabulary cards. Now, I did not write the words on these vocabulary cards because I do not want your students to read them. I don't want them to see the beginning sound and guess. I want them to actually remember what the word is. If there's a word card that you don't know what it is, you can always reach out to me and ask, or you can use the word that you know, or ask someone else at your school, or just take it right out. If you don't know what to call a jack-o'-lantern, I am right there with you. Every single resource that I've ever used has a different word for jack-o'-lantern. So if you don't want to use jack-o'-lantern, I just actually say citrouille d'Halloween. But you can just take that one right out and not use it if that's what you prefer. So there's a bunch, a ton. I think I tried to get something 40 words per set. I can't remember anymore, but there are more than enough for you to use. I use one per student who is present. So I don't use the same ones every single day. I tend to do one chant per month, sometimes every 3 weeks, depending how the holidays line up. But I try to do a chant a month, and then if there's 40 vocabulary cards or what have you, and I have 20 students, then, I mix them up throughout the day, throughout the days, try to add some tricky ones, add some easier ones, and we review them every single time. So by the end of it, my students all hopefully know all of the words and are able to use them in a complete sentence. But yeah, there are lots of words in there. You don't have to use every single one every single day. The game will probably go better if you do one per student. Otherwise, they might get a little bit antsy. St. Patrick's Day one to show you how I play. There are fewer cards in the St. Patrick's Day one because there are just fewer St. Patrick words. It is what it is. This one's also one that I don't do as long because St. Patrick's Day tends to fall around like the first day of spring, and it also is close to Easter and all of that. So this one kind of doesn't get used as long in my classroom. There's also March break, so I'll use it today in the video so it can feel better. But what you're going to want to do is display the chant where everyone can see it. As I said, even if your students aren't reading yet, you can still put it up there. Seeing the words can help them. You can practice it together until everyone is confident. So like for this one, again, it doesn't really have to have a crazy tune, but I'll be like, les farfadets en chacun du trésor. Mais que vois-tu sur ta pièce d'or? Like just trying to make it fit. And then everyone, we practiced it a couple of times so everyone's got it. And then I actually introduce the vocabulary cards every single time. So I show them the ones that I'm going to use every single time. We review them together every single time. So if I'm just going to do like 5 today because I don't want to take the whole video doing this. So I'll be like, une échelle, and then everyone will, tout le monde dit, une échelle, des pièces d'or, tout le monde dit, des pièces d'or. And I always say tout le monde dit, tout le monde dit, tout le monde dit, because I want everyone speaking together, because that is the way that you get the most words coming out of every single student's mouth in your oral communication block as possible, is by saying it together. So this one, you can say un piège, or you might say un farfadet attrapé, or whatever you want to say for that one. Un ballon, un filet, un chapeau. Oh, that one's upside down. Un chapeau avec des trèfles dedans. Like, I don't know, whatever you want to say. I like to say them, like, depending on my students. Un fer à cheval. Like, make it trickier, make it easier, whatever you want to do. And then I flip them over. Like, I don't scramble them. I put them face down, and some students will remember like where they are. That's fine. I find it helps with their confidence, because if a student is nervous or shy or whatever, then they know where to pick a word that they're confident saying. And then if I have a student who thinks, they're really confident, they know that they're an expert, they like the tricky ones, then they'll try to pick like a tricky one to get that point for them. So I've got them all spread out on the floor. You can put them in a basket. You can do whatever. You can, I like to spread them out on the floor face down. We're all sitting in a circle on the perimeter of the carpet. And then my expectation for this one is when they pull a card, if they want to get a point, they have to say a complete sentence. So like say un crayon à main, say un farfadet, like whatever the case. They have to say the complete sentence if they want to get the point and put it up on the chart paper. So I'm at the tapis. My students are in a circle around the tapis. We have our cards face down, one per student in the middle of the circle. Behind me, I have my like chart paper, chevalet, whatever it's called, easel thingy. I've got the poem displayed. If there's something like this, the Halloween one has like the cauldron, like I'll draw a big cauldron on it, and there's one like with apples and trees, like I'll draw an apple tree, what have you. I will draw it up there, but like that is not necessary. And then also on my chart paper, I make a tea table that says Madame on one side and Les élèves on the other side, and that is where we track our points. So I get a point if any students shout out the answer, but it's not their turn. If any students speak in English, so that's where I get a lot of points in the beginning, is because if I hear someone speak in English, that is a point for Madame. If they do a folie, like anything silly, like if they're bouncing around or they're hyper, then I get a point, like if it's getting unruly. And I also get a point if someone touches a card, but it is not their turn. So those are the 4 ways that I get a point. Students get a point when they pick the card and they say what it is in French in a complete sentence. Now, I do not care if they ask a friend for help. They are welcome to ask a friend for help, because the goal is not that they're embarrassed if they don't know the word. The goal is that they learn the word and that they say the word with their mouth and they use it out loud. So they are welcome in my class to ask a friend for help. They cannot get it wrong, basically, and then they can get their point when they say it in a complete sentence. Now, I said I get a point if I shout it out. That's because I'll often have students who get really upset if another student shouts out the answer, but they wanted to guess on their own. So in my classroom, it's a rule that like you have to wait until the student asks for help before you jump in and help them. That's kind of a big one with my students, because they do get upset if they knew the answer, but someone else shouted it out before they were ready. So if they, once they say it correctly, I'm all like, oh, no, we mark a point for les amis, and then they come and they stick it up on the board. And then we say the chant again. We say this chant every single time. Les farfadets en chacun du trésor. Mais que vois-tu sur ta pièce d'or? We say it again again, I pick another student. I actually go around the circle, like skipping a student each time. And then I go back around the circle the other way, like to get the students that I missed, because otherwise I forget who I picked. But everybody gets a turn. I have had students with selective mutism in the past. I either get them to whisper it to me or whisper it to someone else, or like I'll say a word and be like, is this what it is? Yes or no, and have them nod or shake their head. There's lots of different ways to kind of make it happen. You could have them in a non-speaking role as well, like be the point counter, etc. Also, if there is a word that like they're really not gonna get, let me see if like just say, for example, if I don't think they're going to know escargot, then like when someone picks it, I get like I really play into it and I'm like, oh, yes, like Madame va voir un point pour sûr, like personne va savoir que c'est un escargot. And then they're like really listening to me and then they're like, Madame, you said it, say an escargot. And then they say it. So like I just kind of play, like I don't know if they really believe that I messed up and said it, but I think they really believe that I messed up and said it. They play into it 100%. So you can always do that. Like if you know that no one's going to get it, like if it's a really tricky word or if it's been a while, or you can like do a stage whisper to someone and be like, they're never going to know that it's escargot. And then like, they'll tell it, like, you know what I mean? Like play into it. You want the students to have success. But it's a lot of fun. And I have actually like never won. My students always win. So you can do that. Another way you can do it if you don't want to do like the whole game thing, you can still do the chant, display the chant. You pull the card up, have everybody say it, and then just pick a kid that you notice, like a student who said the word, and get them to stick it up. Like you don't have to play it as a game. You can play it as a game. I recommend playing it as a game. My students love playing it as a game. But if you don't want, it does get a little loud, it gets a little hyper. If you don't want a game to start your day, you don't have to. You can just present it, show the card, everybody answers, pick a kid who is speaking to stick it up, and move on. So you're going to repeat that. I repeat it pretty much every day. My students love it. Later in the year, like I have a lot of other oral communication games and like obviously not a ton of time in my day. So sometimes I'll swap it out and I'll do the chant like Monday, Wednesday, and then, Tuesday, Thursday, I'll play a different game. And then Friday we'll do like the Prefa Perdu, which is their favorite game of all time, which I'll do another video about sometime. So you're going to repeat that. Again, I tend to spend like 3 to 4 weeks per chant, and they don't really get tired of it. I only use 15 to 20 cards per game depending how many students I have, then I'll swap them out the next time. But every round you play gives your students more practice with vocabulary and sentence structures. And I also do give them a just dance. Like if they win, which they always win, I pick a student whoever does the last card gets to pick a just dance that we do, and that's kind of like a movement break, a brain break, and like a good transition into our next activity. If I win, they all have to bring me chocolate. Like that is the rule. Unfortunately, I've never won, although I do sometimes still get chocolate brought to me. But that is the rule. If Madame wins, they all have to bring me chocolate. And you can also just, do these chants as a transition activity. So you can like not do it as a game, but do it where I said, like you show the cards and get the kids to stick it up. So if you're ready to transition to something else, but your students are at the table finishing up, bring the ones that are ready to the tapis, start the chant, and it will get the rest of them like moving quickly without you having to nag them. And then you can even do them as an independent literacy center activity if you want to. Like students like to play like prof. So you can pick like, if you have it as if you have a group of 4, you can have one student be the teacher and the other 3 play the game. Like they like to role play like that as well. If you want to try chants in your classroom, I have a whole bundle of chants for the whole year available on Teachers Pay Teachers. Each themed set includes a catchy chant plus 28 to 48 vocabulary cards. So the biggest one has 48, smallest one has 28. Most of them are kind of around 35, 40 to keep your students rolling through chants all year long and learning tons of new words and using them in a complete sentence. And don't forget, you can find more information on chants and how I use them in my free guide to setting up an oral communication routine, like a daily routine. This is what I start my day with oral communication every single day because that gets my students ready to speak French for the rest of the day. Check below for that free guide and you can see kind of how all of my resources in my routine work together. Like I've got the chants. A lot of the same vocabulary in the chants is the same that we do in the mot du jour, which is the same that's on the vocabulary cards. Like it's all interwoven. We're working on using these words, writing these words, reading these words, saying these words all throughout the month of whatever kind of theme that we're working on. And again, if you are looking for like all these resources to make this oral communication, speaking and listening block kind of done for you, I have that mini membership for speaking and listening, which includes 1 or 2 chants each month. There's a couple months that have 2 because I had more than, 10 or 11, along with vocabulary cards, mot du jour activities, and other games that I love for speaking and listening. And it is definitely the best way to keep your lessons fresh and engaging, the best way to build a consistent routine that you can use all year and just kind of swap things in and out. And you don't have to do like the legwork. The legwork is done for you. You just have to prep it and then teach it. Click below to learn more about that mini membership and see how you can get all those resources kind of bundled together, released to you on the first of each month at a way better price in Canadian dollars than what you would get on TPT for US dollars. So it's discounted already, plus it's discounted because you get to pay in Canadian dollars instead of US dollars. So check that out in the link below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more French teaching tips, comment below how would you use these chants in your classroom. I would love to hear it, or if you already use them, let me know which one's your students' favorite. I want to know. My students like the Sorcière one the best, I think, like the Halloween one. I like the Feelings one because I love teaching my students like more advanced vocabulary to explain how they're feeling. So that one's my favorite, I think. But let me know what's your favorite below. Have a great day, and I will see you again next week.